Hello, investors. It's Don Vandenbord, Chief Investment Officer with Revere Asset Management. Today is Friday, February 23rd, 4:53 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from St. Augustine Beach, Florida, with tonight's Revere Market Insight video. State of the market, we're in an uptrend. That uptrend featured a breakout on Thursday after big earnings report and reaction from NVIDIA led a tech AI rally, carried the market to the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 anyway to all-time high closes. Kind of a rest day today, which is good for the market. We rallied early in the morning, just got a little bit too ahead of ourselves before pulling back and consolidating in a tight range for most of the afternoon. Check the trend gauge over here. We've got the, say it with me, coveted 4 green arrows, market leadership, acting fine, and all 5 of the major indexes above the 3 time frames that we track. That's the short-term 21-day moving average, medium-term 50-day moving average, long-term 200-day moving average. So what happened today, as I kind of said in the intro, rest rotation, arguably stalling, but after a big day like that, some rest, and we did rotate out of tech, but the other sectors picked up the slack. And again, that's a feature of the S&P 500. There's a difference between a sell-off and a rotation. Some sectors can be strong, others can be weak. You can go from growth to value and vice versa. In fact, 3 of the last 4 days, we've seen value stocks outperform growth stocks, with the exception being Thursday's big move up in growth names. Here are the numbers on the day. The big 7, as I said, took a breakdown 1/3%. RG8, don't really remember this recently, this small of a gain or loss, as these tend to be more volatile, but up less than 0.1%. Same with the S&P 500. Opened up 0.3%, rallied over 0.5% up, pulled back, consolidated, just barely positive on the day. Equal weighted better, up 0.27%. NASDAQ 100 resting down 1/3%, about the same for equal weighted. Dow up 0.16, mid caps up 1/10, Russell 2000 up 0.14. Global 60/40 stock and bond up 0.17. This was mostly bonds, as bonds rallied while yields pulled back. In-house GROTECTION down just a bit, minus 0.07%. Let's get into the charts and then also into the tail of the tape. We'll start off with the S&P 500 here. You can see the big gap up yesterday and the higher move today, and then reversal. Let's go to a 5-minute chart here. You can see the gap up, moved up. We opened right around 5,000, rallied up to 5111 sideways, little pullback, little rally up to 5100, and then you can see how tight the range was for the rest of the day. So okay to take a break here. Although if we do break below, halfway below the candle of Thursday, actually no, you need to consider the range when you're talking about the evening star pattern. So never mind that. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100 though. Higher high closes inside the body of yesterday's candle, down 1/3%. Dow Jones Industrial Average, this is an all-time high close for the Dow, despite closing at the bottom of the range as well. Note the relative weakness continuing, as tech is what's leading this market. Midcaps MDY poked its head above, closed basically unchanged, just down a tiny bit. That's the MDY down a tiny bit. The actual midcap 400 index up about 1/10. Those do get out of sync slightly. It just depends where those last couple of ticks on the ETF go relative to what the index is doing. IWM up 0.23, but the Russell up 0.14. Again, a little bit of a disparity there, but not necessarily something to write home about. Up slightly on the day after bouncing at the 50-day moving average. The VIX was weak all day, weaker than the market was strong, breaking back below the 21-day moving average, which was uptrending and now has hooked back over. That's good stuff. We like it below 15 and below the 21-day moving average. Not a whole lot of action in the dollar today, kind of a tight range, basically unchanged on the day. Bitcoin had a weak day, down 2%, but holding the 8-day exponential moving average. Gold and gold stocks were strong, Gold up 0.57%. GDX still looks awful, but it was up 1.9%. Now over to bonds. Bond prices rallied on the day, meaning yields pulled back. Stocks like to see that. BND up 0.36%. TLT, the long bond up 1.34%, meaning a bigger pullback in the long bond yield, down 1.84%, and the 10-year TNX down 1.6%. All right, let's get to the tail of the tape, but I need to open the file as here we go. All right, you can pause this. I'll hit the highlights. Not a whole lot of news today, but I want to point out the latest rate cut odds after recent economic news that we've seen and the market rally. The odds of at least a 25-point or quarter-point basis cut in May, only 21%, June, 64%, July, 85%, virtually no chance at the March meeting. So, but at least one cut, 85% by July, is what the market's pricing in right now. Day count up 1 with a consolidation day, 2 days above the 8-day exponential moving average, 33 days above the 21-day moving average. Standout sectors, ITB with the rates pulling back, that's home builders. XRT retail, biotech, gold, and silver stocks on the downside, Bitcoin and the Bitcoin complex, oils, and tech, XLCKNY. Semiconductors down 1% as well. Let me get that in there for historical purposes. And then also KRE regional banks a bit weak as well. In-house in the portfolio, Square. Nice gap up on earnings. We bought it. It squatted a little bit, closed near the bottom of the range after trying to break out. It's into kind of a longer term resistance level. We'll take a look at the chart in a minute, but we did do a starter in that, and also on LabVIEW as biotech showed some relative strength. But the bottom line on the day, healthy digestion rotation after Thursday's big AI tech rally. We'll see what the market has for us next week. And let's take a look at the charts here. I want to also show the weekly chart as well as we do on Friday. So let's quickly go through the indexes so you can see what the weekly charts look like on the S&P. You can see making a higher high there, up 1.7% on the week. NASDAQ 100 up 1.4% on the week. Making a lower low and a higher high relative to last week's candle. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 1.3%, breaking away there after 3 weeks tight. Mid-cap MDY up 1%, a little less than 1% on the week, making again a higher high close. And IWM small caps down on the week by 0.9%. So let's take a look at some individual names now, and we'll start off with what we bought today. That was Square. The gap up, you can see the gap up consolidated nicely when it wasn't giving it up. This is when we started doing our purchases. It made a lower low, then consolidated, attempted to rally early afternoon before pulling back some into the close. I do like middle of the day, these higher spike bars for buying relative to the lower bars when it was selling off in the afternoon, but that's just an intraday observance. If we look at a weekly chart here, you can see this 80 area. You've got resistance or a failed attempted rally here going back all the way to middle of 2022. So if we can clear this level, this much older overhead support won't provide as much resistance. So first step would be to get above today's highs, but you can see that the breakout on the weekly chart certainly looks better than the daily as we reverse back below that pivot, that 80 level. And then using the XBI chart, we don't look at the charts of derivatives, the 3-time ETF LabVIEW, always use the underlying, which is XBI. You can see the relative strength leading into this week and then just kind of going sideways, but breaking above this area here. A lot of individual biotech names looking good, and Ted's very bullish on AI impact on biotech as far as curing a lot of diseases out there. That's more of a big picture call, but for now, nice little rest for about 2 weeks here near the top of this range before moving out yesterday and sitting at the top of the range today. What else do we want to look at? Nvidia gapped up in the morning and then reversed near this 800 level, just a little too far too fast after the move up. Volume was very heavy, so there was an argument that it's a stalling day, but we'll give the market leader a break for now. Would have been nice to see it hold 800, that round number, but didn't do it. The other big AI tech data center name, SMCI, down 12% after running into 1,000 yesterday. Giving up a good bit of that, but still holding the 8-day exponential moving average. Other portfolio names that we hold, Lilly, tight action today. Uber, tight action today as well. CrowdStrike was down, then up, then pulled back, sitting up right above the 21-day moving average. Nice recovery after that big sell-off on Palo Alto earnings earlier in this week. And let's see what else stood out today. Dell, this is, we're watching their earnings report. They have been talking that they don't underestimate them as a data center server provider. So Dell breaking out with earnings next week. And Spotify also looking nice, breaking above that 250 level. And that's going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. Leave a comment on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you want to reach out to me, the email is don@revereasset.com. If you're interested in becoming a client, my partner Dan Stewart, dan@revereasset.com. The phone's 855-REAL-WEALTH. That's 855-732-5932. Be sure and check out the podcast. Did a deeper dive on the market and some nice individual segments from Michael and Ted. So check that out. Reminder, our flagship portfolio is named GROTECTION. Serves two purposes: to grow assets when the market is in an uptrend and to protect them when it's in a downtrend. We dodged the majority of the 2022 bear market. We dodged COVID. We dodged the 2018 bear market, losing substantially less than those sell-offs and then compounding when the market rights itself. That's our approach here at Revere. Common sense approach to us. That's what you do with every other facet of your life, right? And with that, I'll wrap up the video for the week ending February 23rd, 2024. This is Don Vandenbord with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend.